It will be a complete series of how prototype works in JavaScript. I'll cover everything related to object-oriented programming. We'll start with the very basic stuffs like what is variable and how what is function and how we create classes and all. So it will be out of some documentation. There are a couple of things you will not understand from documentation that I will try to keep it clean. All right. So till now, like you might be aware of how we create variable. So in JavaScript, you might be familiar like to create a variable, we use just a variable name and we use some values like for example, say hello. Now this is a variable like yeah, we can just see like it is a field and we have just saved hello in this variable. On the same way, like it is not limited to any value only. We can also create function here, right? And for how we create function, we just use function keyword. Okay, and if we create function, then we write some statement, some line of expressions there. And why the concept of function came? Because like in any file, each and every line will be executed line by line from top to bottom. But there are cases where we need to execute some line of syntaxes on demand, like we want to call some line of context, I mean expressions when we want. Then in that case, what we will do is we'll use function, since like this will not be executed directly until unless we use parenthesis to call, right? So this is a concept of function. You might be aware about it. It's clear. But we can also create function. Like we can also create function in this way as well. This is similar as I shown here. This is similar thing. All right. So we can also create function in this way. The idea was showing like as we create variable, we can also create function. So it's nothing like a special thing. Both are variables. We are just saving different things. In the first one, we are just saving assigning value to it, and in the second, we are assigning a function to it, and that is a callable variable. So I will just call it callable variable. Just let's remove the concept of the function, or let's call it callable variable. How we call it? Using parenthesis. All right, I'm just going to clear it so that I can accommodate a couple of more lines here. Let's say I'll just show you some data types which is already there. For example, let's array. So arrays is a function. You can also see like number, it is also function. Object, it is also function. Boolean, it is also function. Similarly, like you can have string. So when you will type, you'll see like okay, all of them are function. All right. So why I mean how this works? Although like we use so many things on array, like for example, array from, array, like there are so many methods. I mean, on array, how these are available when it is function. I mean, we use function to call, right? So I'll just going to show you like different functionalities of a function. So let's forget about the function. First, focus on the variable. As I said, like we can create a variable with different things. First, as I mentioned, we can use some data. We can assign some data. I'll take some different variable naming. Let's say orders. Now we can assign one value. This is the first way of creating a variable. The second way is like we can create functions. I'm repeating it again. The reason behind that is I'm just going to show you something in details. And now, if you notice, like on the right side, we have the different thing, but on the left side, it is a variable. I've already discussed about this. Now, what we need to do here is like when we create some function, what will happen here is like we use the function keyword. This is also same as I mentioned. This is also same. So what is going to happen here is like you can write some line of statements here. You might be saying why I'm repeating this. Actually, I just wanted to show you some different examples, so that's why I'm repeating this. And let's say I will just add a couple of more lines here. For example, order ID, and that's fine. We can add more lines here, but for now it is fine. Now you will see like, okay, this is a function. If I just try to log the name of the function, you will notice there are a couple of fields on it. Okay, but as you know, like the functions are just callable variables. Why these are the what is these fields? What are these fields? So JavaScript adds these fields by default. Don't focus, I mean, don't worry about argument and color is also deprecated, and this doesn't work as mostly you will see this is null. Although the arguments has different concepts, I have explained it in my previous videos, and I was when I was discussing about uh, I mean this concept. So you can watch my previous video there, you can find the arguments. All right, so like these are the fields which are which was I mean these fields are added by the JavaScript by itself, but how they are adding it, why it is showing here. Let me show you. For example, consider, forget about the function. Consider this is a variable, just a variable. To create, so if I create one field on it, let's say name, let's say something else, order name, and I write order one. Okay. Although this is a function, I'm treating it as a variable and as an object. And you notice like it got added here. And now if I just check what it is showing, you'll notice like this field is added. Now you understand like in the same way, JavaScript would have been added all these variables. What we call these types like these are the static variables. When we will come in, we'll talk about the object-oriented programming in terms of orders. I mean, sorry, in terms of functions in prototype, these are static fields. Why I'm calling this statics? There must be some reason. The one reason is like if you create an instance of it, how we will create instance, that is separate thing I will discuss. But when you will create instance of it, these fields will not be available there. This is a static field, will be constant for all the instances. Okay. Now we'll discuss like for now understand these are the fields added by JavaScript by default whenever you create some functions. Okay. And if you want to add more property, you can just add on it, and these will be the static ones. And now you see like this is the one usage of any function. Another usage I've just already told you, like we can call this function. We can treat it as a callable variable. We can assign property on it that will be a static. Now, when we use new keyword, what will happen? We can also write this way, or you can also write this way. Let's first write new orders. Now you'll see like, okay, it is returning object, and there's a something called prototype. Okay, I will discuss about it, but before that, I will discuss something else. But for now, just understand it is giving an output of orders. And why we are getting this and we have nothing here. To understand this, let me open orders again. If I log orders, I see here is like if you go in the prototype, you'll find its output is object this. Okay, for now just understand whatever is inside prototype will be part of instance. You might be aware like when we use new keyword, it creates an instance. So when we create an instance, everything which is sites inside the prototype will be part of the instance. Okay, so one instance of each of the property will be on instance variable. Okay, and these things are the static, so it will not appear. Apart from that, there's one more thing, like this catch here. So for example, let's say I'm creating an orders method, and if I create some property like this, let's say order details, and if you add using this order description, and if I enter, let me try to log and see whether we are able to see these things. So for now, like if you try to log it, you will not see any of these details. So whatever you have written inside the function will not appear here. And also like you will not able to find it here in the prototype. Now, when you create an instance, everything you which uses this, so this is actually something like something which we use to assign property on instance. So if you want to assign something for the instance variable, you can just use this. And now you can see like this is an object, but it has two properties that is directly defined on object. Apart from that, it will have some properties inside prototype. Now you will ask like, what is this prototype and how things will come here, and what is this prototype? It is so much confusing. I'm going to make it very clear. Let's talk about this prototype first. Okay. Understand it in such a way like JavaScript adds this property by default on any function. Now, understand this is a kind of template. Any function is a template. Now you can create an object from any function. If you are aware about class, then understand function as a class. And when we create an instance from that function, it will create many objects. And whatever will be there in the prototype, as I said, will be part of that instance. And also, apart from that, if we have defined something with this property in the function itself. Now, how to, let's say, I just want to I just want my instance variables to have one special method, something called let's say get order details. Okay, so what I will do here, since I want all my instance variables to have this method, so what I will do, like I will add it on prototype. So it's a prototype is a property which we have seen just on prototype. I'm just going to create get order details. Okay, and now since we can use this to access the main object, main function name. So here we have already defined the order details, so we could just return it from here. Okay, that's fine. And now when you will try to log orders, what you will see here is there's one more method here in prototype. Since we have used orders.prototype dot get order details, there's nothing there's no such rocket science or something like that. We directly added property on function under the prototype, and it got it, I mean it got added here. So whatever we want to be part of the instance variable, we'll add it in the prototype. Okay, also, as I said, like you can also add direct property by using this. Let's say you have created a method and now you cannot modify it, then you can just add and go and add it on the prototype. Okay, for example, like I have added it. Now if I create the instance variable, what will happen here? As these are the two direct properties as we have defined with the help of this. Apart from that, if I expand, I'll see, okay, so it is showing inside the prototype. Now let me explain you the difference. Function is a template. As I said, the function is a template. We can create many objects. In function, you will see the name with the prototype as prototype. Okay, but when we'll create instance, there it will be written in this way. All right. Now, what's the reason behind this? Actually, it is saying these are the properties part of prototype, but actually this is not a field of it. So why I'm saying this is not a field, let me show you. Like for now, like I have not assigned this in any object or variable. Let me first create an object. I'm just going to use new orders. You can use parenthesis as well. We will say like why I'm not using parenthesis. The reason behind that is when you use parenthesis, your constructor will be called. Yes, so here as constructor will be called. But the reason behind why I'm not using parentheses, like we don't explicitly need to call the constructor. So I'm just going to create an instance. All right. So now we see like we have these two properties as we defined above, and we have this method. Now, as we have assigned this instance to A, so A is the instance of orders. Okay, so when I will use A dot, I can access order details. These two fields which I have defined directly. Apart from that, if I use the A dot get order details, you will notice like, okay, I'm also able to access this, which is part of prototype. So the reason why I was saying this is not a field, this is just a grouping. You can understand it like grouping. So prototype with the, something like angle bracket. So you may find this it different bracket or something like that in the Chrome. Right now I'm using the Firefox, so it is showing angle bracket. You may also find it this way like prototype or something like that. So this is also same. Okay. Now whatever is here is actually this thing is not actually a field, but it is a kind of grouping. Now you understand like if you have something in this under the prototype, you can also access directly. Okay, so if let's say if I call it, I'll get the details. I'll get the things which is written there. I'm not sure if you have noticed or not, but if you notice here in orders, you'll see like here we have prototype, field, and also the virtual prototype, which is not actually a field. So you will ask like, okay, I created this function. What this prototype is doing here? From where it is coming? So actually, when you create a function, it is an instance of function. So function is a keyword in JavaScript. If you notice, like it inherits from the function. So basically, it is an instance of function. When we create an instance of function, it actually had the functions, some properties like these properties are part of function. So this is all about the prototype foundation. We have not discussed about the inheritance and all. We can go in deep and then understand how we can create different prototypes, how we can utilize the inheritance features. Uh, Till now you might be aware about how what is prototype, how what's the purpose of these two prototype fields and all, what is the static variables, how we create, what is template, what is instance. So these things might be clear after watching complete video. If you have skipped the video, I would recommend you to go back and start it from the beginning. And if you are losing some context, you can also watch my previous videos. There you will get good amount of skills from there as well. All right, so thank you for watching. Have a nice day.